Hey guys, it's Techo Freak here, and welcome to Q&A number 9 from my custom story creation tutorial for Amnesia Rebirth. And today, we're going to be answering another one of your questions. For those unfamiliar, the Q&A series is the series where I take some of the questions you've asked on my YouTube channel and on the Discord, and I answer them in a video format for you guys to see, and it helps educate other people who might be trying to do the same thing. So, I always say this as a warning on these videos, the method I use is usually the first and simplest one that comes to mind. There probably are different ways to do it. There might be some easier ways to do it maybe, but usually the way I show is the simplest and easiest way that I determine immediately. So there could be different ways, but it should help it should help answer any questions that anybody asks. So today we're going to be answering a question by Tunchin here. This is a comment he put in a YouTube video, but I've copied it here to the Discord and I've put it here. What he's asking is pretty much how we can implement some kind of a stamina system where you run slower or climb slower and stuff like that when you've been running for a long time. So we're going to be tackling this. We're going to be creating this like invisible stamina system that he's talking about here. For those that might be wondering how you can submit your own questions, you can leave questions on the comments of my YouTube videos. But there's a link to the Discord in the description of all my videos. So if you want to join the Discord and come here and put it in the QA submissions channel here, feel free to do so. I try to keep everything organized here and answer all these questions. So let's go ahead and get started on this. It should be a fairly simple implementation here. So just to show, we're not be doing anything in the level editor today, but just showing this is our level for those that might be watching this for the first time. We're probably going to just trigger the stamina system right from the start of spawn. So there's nothing really here that we need to know about anything here. So let's just go ahead and bring out our CodeLight application and start talking about how we can implement this. Now I'll zoom you guys in so you guys can see a little better. First thing we want to do is we want to set some values that kind of control what our stamina is at any point. So we're going to do this with a global variable. A global variable is just pretty much a value that we can reach and kind of like see what it is at any point. So if we're in this function, we can check it and we know what it is. If we're in this function, we can check it and we know what it is. No matter where you are in your script, you can go ahead and check it and you know the exact stamina that your player should be having. So we've talked about this before in my last main series video. We actually used a couple here. So we're gonna pretty much put it in here. I'm gonna put a new line here. I have my global variables separated into like a little space here, so I know where they are. I put them right underneath all the starting functions here in the game. So we're just gonna add a new one here. If you want to like label it so you know like the difference, I'm gonna put like for stamina system, something like that, just so I know that what's under here is for the stamina system, for our whole stamina system that we're creating here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna create an integer here. So we're gonna say int for integer, and then we're gonna name it. Let's give it the name stamina. Just pretty straightforward, stamina. And we're gonna set this equal to what we want the stamina to be. So if we want the stamina to be like 10, like they have 10 stamina, then we put 10 here, right? So that's the basic of how basic way that's gonna work. But we're gonna do something a little bit different here, and it'll make sense a little bit further when we start programming the main thing. We're gonna create a new value here. We're gonna call it int stamina cap, because we want to cap the player's stamina at a certain value, and we don't want him to go past the stamina because he's going to be recovering stamina, so we want it to stop at some point. So what we're going to do is whatever we want his stamina to be, the most we want his stamina to be, which I'm going to be assuming here 10. I'm going to put 10 here, and then I'll close this out with the semicolon here. And what we're going to do is, instead of saying we could easily just do this stamina cap, stamina 10, but we're gonna change this and we're gonna say stamina cap. So we're gonna cap the player's stamina at 10, and his current stamina when the game starts up is gonna be 10. So that should be pretty straightforward there, and you'll see what we're going to use these for in a moment. So if they're not completely sure what we're going to do with this, don't worry about it. We're gonna bring these up in a moment. So next, what we want to do is we want to create a timer that's going to keep checking the player's stamina and slow him down accordingly if we need to slow him down. So you might have seen this if you've seen some of the other Q&As. We've done this for a few other stuff, but we'll go ahead and go to our setup here. So when the game sets up, we want to create a timer that's going to start checking the player's stamina right off the bat. So we're going to go ahead and create our timer. It's going to say map add timer. And then we're going to give the timer a name. This is just for you to control in the script, this name. This can be whatever you want. I'm going to call it stamina checker. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set how long until this is going to start running. So we're just going to we're going to start it in 1 second after the game is set up for the player to start playing. And now we need the name of the function that we're going to call. So we're going to follow the convention, and it's going to be on timer underscore and then the name of the function that we want. So we're going to use this right here too. So just like this timer stamina checker, we're just going to say stamina checker here, and then we're all set there. And make sure we put our semicolon here. So now we are calling our timer in 1 second after the game starts up. So now let's go ahead and make that function. So let's go down somewhere here. Maybe I'll place it right underneath our global variables so that we know, so we can see it right off the bat. And what we're going to do is we're going to go void, and we're going to say on timer. It's going to be the name of that function we just wrote up there, on timer stamina checker. And then we're going to do an open and close parentheses, and we'll do our open and close curly brace here, and I accidentally put a back one here, so let's push these back out. And we want to put something inside of here as well. We're going to say const for constant, t string. This is just the format of the function, and we need to put it in exactly like this. So just go ahead and copy this. You don't need to change any of this. And we're going to say in as timer. And now, now that we have that there, we have our whole function running. And what we're going to do at the very bottom of this function here, we're going to put map underscore restart current timer, and we're going to set a time to restart it. So we're just going to put 1. So every second, this function will restart. So so at the beginning of the game, we have the setup. The setup starts the timer. 1 second after that timer started, we call our stamina check function here, and we're gonna put some stuff in here in any moment right now. But once all of that runs, at the end of the function, it's gonna restart our timer, and it's gonna run this same function again, and it's gonna keep doing that repeatedly. So now that we have that done, now let's lay out our functions that we're gonna be using here. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna say if. And we're going to open up a curly brace here. And first thing we want to do is we're going to check if the player is running or not. So if he's running, we're going to say player underscore get running. So this gets whether or not the player is currently running when we check this function here. And then we also want to check to make sure that his stamina is greater than 0. So we don't want to take away any of his stamina if he doesn't have any. So we're gonna say we're gonna check that too. So we're gonna say and we're gonna say stamina greater than 0. So again, we're gonna check if the player is running, and if his stamina is greater than 0, we want to go ahead and do something here, and that's pretty much decrease his stamina because he's running and he still has stamina. So we want to remove stamina from him. So right for now, let's just put a message. I want to write out the whole thing here before we start putting in functions and stuff and any of that. So we're gonna write out we're gonna add a debug message so that we can just see what it's doing, and we're gonna say player is running. And then we'll just say decreasing stamina. So that way we know that his stamina is decreasing. So that message will show us, and we know that our system is working. And now we're going to say here, we're going to put a new line here. We're going to say else if. And in here, what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite of what we did above here. And we're going to say we're going to do player get running again. So we're going to do player get running again. But at the beginning of this statement, of this function, we're going to put an exclamation point. What this means is we're going to check the opposite. So we're saying if player get running is not true, then that's what we want here. So this is the when we have use this exclamation point, this is the opposite of what this value is. So if the player is not running, then it should be true because we're doing the opposite here. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a check here again with the stamina again. So we do and stamina is less than stamina cap. So we're pretty much doing the same thing here. In this case, we're checking, in this first case, we're checking to see if his stamina is greater than 0. In which case, if it is, and he's running, then we're going to decrease his stamina. But in this case, if he's not running, and his stamina is currently less than his cap, then we want to go ahead and increase his stamina. So this pretty much having the stamina cap here prevents us from going higher than the stamina cap when he's recovering stamina. So it'll cap at 10 because that's what we have it set to here. So let's go ahead and do the same thing here. We're gonna print the message here before we write any functions in here. We're gonna say player is not running. We'll put like an exclamation point. We'll capitalize it. Is not running. And then we'll say increasing stamina. So we're doing the opposite. We're increasing the stamina when he's not running and his stamina is less than the cap. So that should make sense. We'll run through this one more time at the end. So now the next thing we want to do is check if we need to disable or enable his stamina. So this will control just increasing and decreasing stamina. Now we need something here to check if we need to disable his stamina because he has too little stamina, or to re-enable his stamina if he has enough stamina to run. So what we're going to do is we're going to do another if here. Let's say if, and then we'll do the whole curly brace thing. Maybe we'll put a little message here, add and remove stamina. So we know this is just for adding and removing stamina. And then this is for disabling and enabling player movements, player running, not movements. And yeah, so for this, we're going to do stamina less than 1. So if his stamina is less than 1, which means it's 0 or something less, then we're gonna go ahead and disable his running here. But we want to put one more statement here. We're gonna say and player. This is a bit more of a safety check. We're gonna say player underscore get can run. Let me clear it here so you can see the function come up. Player underscore get can run. What this is checking pretty much is checking if the player is able to run right now. So if the player can run and his stamina is less than 1, then we want to disable his running. But in the event that he couldn't run already, and then we won't do anything here. But because he has the ability to currently run right now, his running is enabled, and his stamina is less than what we wanted, than what we are allowing, then we're going to disable his running here. So we're going to say clux debug message, or we're going to just put another message. We're going to put player is out of stamina, and we're going to say running disabled. So just so that we know that his running is disabled. And of course, once you finish implementing this and you get it to work, you can clear all these debug messages. It's not necessary here. And then we're gonna do is we'll do the last part with the functions in a moment. So we're gonna go ahead and do else if here. So now we're gonna do this again, but pretty much the opposite now. So we're gonna say if stamina is less than 0. And so we're gonna do a double ampersand here, and then we're gonna do the same thing here. Player get can run. Actually, I might just copy it here. and we'll do the exclamation point here. We'll paste this here. So, and player can run. So this is the opposite again. So if the player can't run and his stamina is less than 0, then we want to go ahead and make sure to enable his running. So we're going to go ahead and copy our message here. We're going to say player has regained his stamina. Running enabled. So pretty much the opposite. Running enabled. So. And then, yeah, we haven't actually wrote the code to like disable anything or anything like that. But this is pretty much the whole outline for everything. So what we're going to do now is actually put in the functions that we want to put in here. So we're going to say, we're going to start with the beginning here. So when the player is currently running and he has enough stamina, we're going to go ahead and remove some of his stamina. So we can say stamina equals stamina minus 1, and we'll put the semicolon. So actually we forgot semicolons here, so let's put those there too. So of stamina, we're going to go ahead and set his stamina to 1 less than his current stamina. We can also do this a different way. We can say something like we could do like a -1 here, but you'll see that in a moment. We don't need to do anything here right now though. So but at this point the stamina has been removed, so now we're gonna go ahead and do it the opposite over here. So we're gonna say the same thing. Stamina is equal to stamina plus 1, and our semicolon as well, so the opposite. So we got to increase the stamina. And now we're going to go down here to the actual part where we disable the player's running. So this is actually pretty simple. We're going to say player underscore set can run, and we're going to say false. So the player is out of stamina, so we want to disable his running, and there it is, where his stamina is his running is disabled. So and now we're going to do the opposite down here. So we'll probably just copy this function here as well. We'll paste it here, and we're going to say true. So if the player regained his stamina, we want to re-enable his running. So we're going to set player set can run to be true here. And at this point, we're pretty much done. We don't need to do anything else. We can go ahead and launch the game and run this, and we will have the stamina system. But I'm actually going to do something just to kind of improve this a little more, because what's going to happen if you run this, the player's going to run. He's going to run out of stamina, and then 1 second later, he's going to have stamina again. You're going to run for like another second, and then you're going to run out of stamina. So he's just going to kind of like jitter run, or like kind of run in like rapid successions, because his stamina loses 1, gains 1, loses 1, and we kind of don't want that behavior. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a few extra lines here, only 1 extra line actually, or I guess 2, because we're gonna put a variable up here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a new variable here. We're gonna say int stamina regen time. So when the player runs out of stamina, we want it so that he can't run for a set amount of time after running out of stamina. So this will, if he completely drains his stamina, this will prevent him from running for a few seconds, so we don't get that jittering run effect. So we're going to say this is going to be 5 seconds. So if he completely runs out of stamina, he can't run again for 5 seconds, because he has to, kind of recover his stamina a little bit. So now that we have that, how do we put that in, how do we implement that here? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and when the player runs out of stamina here, so this is where the player runs out of stamina and we disable his running, what we're going to do is set his stamina equal to negative stamina regen time. So what this means is we're setting his stamina equal to negative whatever this value here is. You can also just take away the negative here and put the negative up here if you prefer that. But we're gonna put the negative right here. So stamina regen 5. So his stamina is now equal to -5, because we're taking the negative of this one. So his stamina is equal to -5. So this timer runs every second. So the player's not running for 5 seconds. then his stamina will regen that negative amount. So again, since it's -5, it has to recover back up to 0 before he can start running again. So now that that's done, it'll give him the illusion that he has to recover his stamina, and then that will kind of fix that issue. So the last thing I want to do here, nothing crazy. I want to play a sound effect when the player's out of stamina, so we can kind of hear the player out of stamina. So I'm going to go ahead and put a new line here. We're going to say sound. I want the function to come up. So we're going to sound create at entity, and the sound we want. First we got to give it a name, the name of the sound, so we can reference in our script. But we're going to say sound trap breathing. And then we'll do comma space. Now we want to specify the name of the sound that we want to use. So we're going to say player slash vocalizations slash fear slash trap breathing. So this is like a panic breathing effect kind of that they have for the fear system. Then we're going to do comma, space, and now we're going to specify where it's going to play, what entity it's going to play at. We're going to play it at the player's location, so we're going to do player, and then we'll do comma, space. The amount of fade time, we don't want no time for fade, we want it to play immediately, so we're going to do 0.0f here, and then we'll do comma, space, and save sound. We do want to save the sound effect to play because this player will probably be running out of stamina often. So we're going to set this to be true so that the sound effect could be kind of loaded into memory and it could be easily played again when the player runs out of stamina. So we will be using this sound, will play multiple times. So and with that, we're pretty much done with the stamina system. We're all good to pretty much test it and see how it works. So let's go ahead and jump. Actually, before we even jump, let's actually just kind of just review this one last time. So first, we check if the player is running, if his stamina is greater than 0. So if that's the case, we go ahead and decrease stamina. If the player's not running and the player's stamina is less than the stamina cap that we set up here, then we're going to go ahead and remove some of his stamina, or we're going to add some stamina to him. Then if the player stamina is less than 1 and the player can run at the moment, we want to go ahead and play a sound effect that he's tired, because this is what it's representing, that he's tired. Then we're gonna set his ability to run to be false, so he can't run anymore. And we're gonna set his stamina to be negative regen time, which is 5, which will take him since this timer runs every second, it will take him 5 seconds to recover all that stamina. And then that will prevent him from constantly running, stopping, because we don't want that effect. Then if the player's stamina is less than 0 and he cannot run, we want to go ahead and set his running enabled, because that means that his stamina is greater than 1 because it's less than 0. So we can go ahead and re-enable his running and he can run again. And then at the very end, we restart this timer so we can go ahead and check this function again to see if the player needs to remove some stamina, add some stamina, or disable some of his running and stuff like that. So with that, we're all done with that. Let's go ahead and launch up the game and check it out. Actually, guys, before we start up the game, make sure that this is set to an S here. I put a Z, but this should be I put a Z here, and it should be an S. It should be vocalizations with an S. That's the way that it's written in the sound file. So make sure that's a S, not a Z. So with that, we can go ahead and run our game. All right, here we are in our levels. First thing I'm gonna do is gonna walk open to this open area, and we're gonna start running around now. So go ahead and start running. And if you look at the bottom left, you can see player is running, decreasing stamina. So right now what we're going to do is just keep running and running and running. And eventually we're going to run out of stamina. We set the stamina to be 10. So we're going to run out of stamina and we're going to get a message for that. So there it is. Player's out of stamina, running disabled. And then since we stopped running, we got our stamina back too. So we just stay still. You can see, not running, increasing stamina. So we're just sitting here, not running, increasing stamina. And we're regaining our stamina back. And then we can go ahead and start running again. And then we run out of stamina. And we have to wait here for our stamina to start recovering again. So So with that, guys, that does it for the stamina system here. Pretty fun thing to do. Pretty fun thing to do for sure. And it helps you guys kind of add a little bit extra layer of fear, or a little bit extra layer of difficulty when you have like ghouls in the level and stuff like that, and you want the player to run, but you don't want them to have infinite stamina. So a fun way to implement that. With that, guys, I'm going to wrap up the Q&A here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this helps your custom stories. So have a good one, guys. Bye.